by him stealing the other Sylvanas as well. So he's gonna taunt up here, and he's gonna silence that Sylvanas. That's what I believe is gonna happen here.
Yeah, almost guaranteed. I mean, at least you have to silence the Sylvanas, because otherwise you have to know that Shadow Flame is coming, regardless. Then, you know, it's gonna steal the Drake there, and he's gonna double taunt. Where's the silence? There we go. So silence and the double taunt up. So this is actually a very big field for Trump. Now, he still has to watch out for, you know, the Shadow Flame. It'll still do a lot to clear the board, but at least Amaz won't be stealing any minions back.
Yeah, this is a really, really good play here. But it does have that Shadow Flame, and I do believe this is a Shadow Flame turn here. No matter the scenario. I mean, he could play a Drake here, he could run the Ooze into that 5-6, and then Shadow Flame the Sylvanas to clear the board and have a Drake on the table. And I do believe that's the only play he's gonna be able to make here. There is another play with Argus, but...
Oh, wow. Wait a second. He's gonna go for the silence and then Shadow Flame the 2-1.
Oh.
So that's another way of doing this. It does put 2 more damage on his Sylvanas.
But he's not able to play the Drake this turn. And the Drake would have been actually pretty useful, considering he already used 1 owl on the Sylvanas.
Yeah, so essentially he trades having the Sylvanas on the board now with the other option, which would have been leaving the Drake on the board previously. But I actually would have liked to see the Drake play.
Yeah, me as well, because now he leaves up a 2-1 as well, which can cause some problems with another Argus. But that's not the case right now, though. But Molten Giants, you want to play that right now? You don't have a Taunter, so you need to be really afraid of dying here. Maybe you just want to play the Siphon Soul here and the Ancient Washer. But yeah, he's gonna go for a risky play here by playing the Molten Giant and healing himself back up. Maybe even power overwhelming that 2-1 to kill the Sylvanas. And I think he needs to do that. And I think we're gonna see that as well.
Yeah, he also... Wait.
Wow. No, he's not doing it.
He is doing it. He's power overwhelming the Leroy, shoving it into the face, and that puts Trump at 2 HP for the Soulfire finish. Holy cow.
Yeah, I was talking about power overwhelming the Argus to clear the Sylvanas to prevent this from happening.
Yeah, but he didn't take care of it at all. Like,
yeah, that was really, really sloppy play there. He needs to expect a burst like that happening in that turn. I do believe you need to kill that Sylvanas.
Yeah, you had to take that out of the field, but he just didn't recognize it, and that's gonna be a game 1 win. So a little bit unfortunate that he didn't see the burst coming and prepare for it. I mean, to be fair, he tried to, you know, heal up enough to be out of range, but just wasn't out of there in time. So Trump is gonna move on to play his warrior deck now. Has a Sylvanas in his starting hand, but I think he's gonna mulligan that away. Or what are you looking for as a warrior now that Trump has gone to this deck versus handlock?
You're looking for executes, you're looking for Acolyte of Pains. I mean, Armor Smiths are nice and all, if you have some kind of follow-up plan, but you need those executes and Acolytes badly. So he's gonna actually mulligan the Armor Smith, which I believe is an okay play here. Would have been fine to keep it, but really need to go for those removals versus handlock.
Yeah, and as far as mulligans are concerned, we're still waiting on seeing exactly what Trump gets. Took him like a year and a half to draw those cards in there. He gets a shield block, and there's a shield slam, so at least he gets a couple of the cards that he's looking for early on. Draws into another shield slam too, so really good early hand for Trump.
Yeah, might want to consider... Oh wow, double shield slam here with the shield block as well. That's gonna be able to remove the first 2 threats easily. He just armors up here every turn. That Rag and Groom is actually really bad at this point in the game, but having those 2 shield slams can transition him into the late game pretty safely.
Yeah, and I think he's actually going to draw into that execute too. So he's got a ton of early options, and he has these options before Amaz has even put a giant out on the field, even though he has a few of them in his hand. So great early start technically, but you know, it looks like he's going to coin out. So he coined out a Watcher early on, and I guess you can do that on the coin. Coin's never something that a handlock wants to see, but it does give him the opportunity.
Yeah, he's still going to be able to play the Giant next turn for 4 mana. So coining out that Ancient Watcher with a tap is a decent and good play, I think.
Yeah, I mean, coin gives you a little bit of flexibility, but it makes like the number of cards in your hand a little bit iffy if you can't get out that early play. So
Yeah,
Mountain Giant now coming out. How does Trump deal with this? He's going to be able to armor up and then shield slam. So about the
yeah.
easiest way to
You
remove
don't
a
you don't
giant.
you don't need to use shield block here. Let's see what he picks up here. So he's picking up a Sledge Belcher, and he can't play that this turn though, because he needed to armor up. So
Yes, so a little bit of a dead turn for him, but he removes the giant off the field, which is pretty much what he was looking for. And he's stuck at 8 armor now, but he has to make sure that he keeps that 8 armor for when the next giant comes around, or at least has enough to clear off big drakes that are coming out.
yeah, so he's only playing the Sledge Belcher here without Shield Slamming, which is the correct play because you don't want to Shield Slam Sledge Belcher for sure. However, an Argus here, not gonna make any difference considering the HP of Trump's minion, but it's gonna put up more taunts on the table for a Mas. I'm not sure
Yeah.
though. Do you want more taunts here? I mean, you have 2 Molten Giants. Maybe you want to get lower.
And this is kind of the same thing that we saw from Trump previously, where he had the 2 mountain giants in his hand and kept playing cards, so he was never really able to use them. With all these taunts out on the board, those molten giants are going to be dead cards in your hand for 3-4 more turns.
Yeah, for sure. We're not gonna see them being played anytime, if at all actually, because if he picks up a Death's Bite here, he's gonna be able to make it so he can actually kill Amas without ever putting him in Molten Giant range because of that Death Rattle effect from that weapon and Gromage.
Oh my god, yeah, so the burst coming out from both of these guys is going to be absolutely ridiculous. You can see that Amaz actually has 2 parts of the 3-part... Actually, no, he's got Faceless, Leroy, and Power Overwhelming in his hand. So
Yeah,
that is
so
20 damage turn 10.
All the comp pieces, and also don't forget the Soulfire, that's also an additional 4 damage. But it's gonna be a while until he gets there, and he needs to remove the armor and health until then, some way. And he doesn't have a Drake, he doesn't have a Giant right now, so he has a very low amount of damage on the board, which is not gonna help him kill him by turn 10 with the combo.
Oh my god, yeah. Amaz sitting with 24 damage in his hand at turn 10. But like you said, it's a few turns until there, and 36 health is going to keep Trump out of range for that. So
yeah, so I do believe that this is a possible Ragnaros turn, but I mean, oh, he shield slams that taunted Ancient Watcher. I don't know, man, if that's the correct play, because he deals no threat when not silenced, so...
yeah, and that actually takes out a form of removal that's pretty big against handlocks. And now with Ragnaros coming in, he still has that execute, which is going to be absolutely, to quote Admirable, huge if you run in the Sledge Belcher in.
Like, he's saying that that was a mistake, but hitting the 1-1 doesn't really matter, because he needs to sacrifice one of those 2 minions anyway to enable that execute. So he's gonna Faceless here, and he's gonna... oh no, he's gonna play his own Rag here. A bit greedy, unless he decides to trade the Sledge Belcher and execute as well.
Now, why would you Faceless... I mean, why would you play your own Rag here instead of, like, Armor Up and then... or the Shield Block and then Faceless? Because it still allows you to use the Execute when you suicide your Sledge Belcher.
Yeah, it's more mana efficient, I guess, because you can always Faceless the Rag later, your own Rag or his Rag if your Rag misses his Rag. And you can play other stuff that turn as well. Because right now, he doesn't have a lot of options except for just Faceless and Rag. You won't draw anything useful from the Shield Block because you already used both Shield Slams. So you will draw most likely a dead card from the Shield Block, and then just being mana efficient this turn is far superior.
Alright, so he does just decide to drop the Ragnaros, and that's going to go down. He'll suicide the Sledge Belcher, get the Execute off, and now Ragnaros... you don't have to... It's no mystery, it's just going straight to the face. So now it's up to Amaz. Amaz does have that Faceless Manipulator in his hand if he wants to go for, stealing Rag back once again. But the Siphon Soul is, at the same time, is also a really good way to get rid of it.
Yeah, the Faceless is a really risky play here, because he needs to, if he wants to play the Faceless, he needs to Soulfire the 1-2, and then he might discard something very important. You can't just play your Faceless here and hope that it hits the Rag. So I think you need to go for Siphon Soul here. And keep the Faceless for your Leroy combo. But at the same time, you're not drawing into your fucking Giants, so what are you gonna pressure him with until you get your combo? So He's just gonna throw that faceless up there, forget about his own combo, and just try to go for the win with minions on the board instead.
Well, the combo is definitely there. He's going to save his Siphon Soul, but Amaz has a lot invested in this Ragnaros. So we'll see if it's good enough to get the snipe out there. He's still got 4 extra mana, so I guess he's just going to, tap for the Twilight Drake.
That Twilight Drake was really huge. And he needs to Soulfire that one too, that's for sure.
Yeah, so 50-50 on the Rag. Does it go to face or does it go to the other Ragnaros? And it does go to face, the Dennis Rag. I don't know if he's too hype about that.
Oh, and he picks up the Black Knight top deck. That's actually huge.
Damn.
That's like, in the spirit of Admirable, that's a huge draw.
Damn. Trump. He's got the Value Town deck going on. He just draws into exactly what he needs.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Like, how much more of a perfect card could you get there? That's the best thing Trump could have drawn.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's gonna start with a shield block here because he is gonna play that Black Knight, so you might as well start with a shield block.
In case he draws a card better than Black Knight.
Yeah, I don't see what that could be. Actually, execute. No, you don't have enough. Oh, he actually drew the execute, but you don't have 8 mana, so you can't faceless his taunted Rag and play cleave and execute the Rag. He's 1 mana short of doing that. So that's quite unfortunate.
Well, I guess the same thing is true. Like, do you just drop the cleave and execute as Ragnaros, though?
Yeah, but then you're left with 4 mana and you can't play anything else. I mean, I think the Black Knight is just too good here not to play. Although, at the same time, you're afraid of hitting his face here because that leaves him with the possibility of 1 Molten or even 2. And we know that he has 2 Molten Giants in his hand.
Yeah.
And you don't have a Brawl, so...
So he is just going to go for the Faceless here. He facelesses his own Ragnaros.
Yeah, he's playing around Black Knight here if he has that, but...
Oh, perfect. Rag hit number 1, and number 2, though, goes straight to face. So this is...
It's not too bad. If you have double Molten, if you have double Ragnaros, it's okay to hit face there. Even if he plays double Molten here, you have Black Knight to remove it with Taunt, you have Execute. I mean, this is just too good of a position that he's in right now.
So a turn in which a Black Knight is not used on a taunted Rag. I didn't think I'd ever see that, but like you said, a much better play. Just double Ragnaros out on the field for Trump, and Amaz, the Rags, is turned against him. So he's got a Siphon Soul in his hand. He's got free Giants out there on the board. He can taunt them up. So he's got a lot of options, but he still has to take care of Rags.
Yeah. That's just gonna prolong the game a bit, but I mean, he really needs. I mean, what could he tap for here? I mean, he could tap for a Siphon Soul, a Shadow Flame. Oh my god,
baby! Oh my god!
That's actually huge.
That's ridiculous. I was thinking to myself, all right, how do you? Oh, and then he just draws the Shadow Flame. So double Molten Giants. He's gonna taunt up the shield on the board. So that just means Shadow Flame. The value. Oh my god.
Yeah, and also, yeah, he needed to taunt up that Molten Giant because possibility of like Groom and stuff. But that's just gonna get Black Knighted now, and then he's gonna cleave and clear up the rest pretty easily. So this is still looking really good here for Trump.
Oh my god, yeah, so big plays on both sides, clearing 2 Ragnaros in 1 turn. That's pretty monstrous. So I think he's going to turn back to Amaz. He doesn't have a lot in his hand. Keep in mind, he had that big combo with like the Faceless Leroy, but he doesn't anymore. He's just got that power overwhelming there. And now 29 health to go through on Trump. I mean, Trump almost wins just off of his health pool this late in the game, but there's still options for Amaz. He's got Drake, Mountain Giant, stuff in his hand to play. He doesn't want to tap here because I don't know. Is 4 equal to 2? Like, as far as health is concerned, I mean, he's pretty dead to anything anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you need that taunt right now. You need to know that, like...
Oh. He draws the anti-taunt, so...
Yeah.
I don't know, Kev.
This is over. It's over.
Yeah, this is coming down to it.
If he would have just Siphon Souled that, he would have, like, on the board, stayed alive. But... we know that he has a Grimace in hand, so...
Yeah, so this game is over, and finally, Trump finds the answer to Amaz's handlock. Took him out game 1, but now he's bringing it right back, and Gramash to the face with a fiery win axe. And that'll be Trump taking down the second game of the series. So, man, keeping it close there. Amaz will tap out there. He'll go down, and that will give Trump the win. So, I guess that was his Trump card in the end. I'm going to pretend I didn't say that. I'm actually going to need an infinite amount of snoozes to make up for that. But, oh my god. All right. Well, we're going to get into the next game of the series.
Yeah.
This time around, it's actually going to be Trump's Warrior versus Amaz's Priest. So, the test of who can die to fatigue first.
Yeah, this is I kind of like this matchup actually. It can go either way. It all depends on how good the warrior player is, in my opinion, because if you just save your cards, like you save all your big minions until you get your Alexstrasza, and then you just Alexstrasza, you then follow that up with like Rag, you follow that up with Gromage, like it's too much pressure. But if you play them separately, the priest actually has a good chance because he can just Shadow of Death the first one, then wait a few turns, mind control the next one. But they don't really have that advantage if you just save your Alexstrasza and save all your big stuff for later on in the game.
Yeah, and Amaz gets a huge turn 1 cleric out there on the board, so nothing too bad. But the perfect counter coming out from Trump, so you look at the fiery war axe to take that out. I can't tell you how good it makes me feel killing a cleric with fiery war axe, because they're so hard to deal with. But a nice counter there by Trump.
Yeah, and now he can't really play his Acolyte here because of that 3 and 4 health minion. So this is gonna be an Armor Smith turn for sure, and he's gonna not attack that turn. Wait for see what the board looks like next turn.
Yeah, double cultist though, that's a little bit rough to deal with. There aren't really good ways to get rid of double cultist because you kill one and it buffs the other one.
Yeah, so he actually has to execute though for the second one. So what he could do here, I mean, it's very, very awkward either way because you don't want to waste a shield slam just to execute something.
Yeah, if you shield slam and execute the same target when it's really only a dark cultist that's been buffed.
Yeah, I think what he's gonna do here is just attack that with the Armor Smith and Axe and play his Acolyte. If the other one that gets buffed next turn, he will just get executed the following turn because he's gonna attack into the Acolyte. So he's just playing a preemptive game here.
Yeah, it's a really smart play, and it does leave that cultist buffed and on the board. I don't think there's any chance of Amaz just going to face with that and trying to avoid that execute. So we'll just go ahead, clear out the Acolyte, and then get executed.
Yeah, another play would have been just to just armor up and equip the second Fire War Axe. But this is a bit better in my opinion. Because if he didn't play a minion there and he actually healed like he did, you wouldn't be able to execute it.
Yeah, I actually saw that heal and I was like, oh no, he's not going to be able to execute it. And I was like, wait, you just get another armor. So suicides that in. That Armor Smith actually gave him a ton of armor compared to how effective it was at allowing him to trade out against those early double dark cultists. So.
Very interesting that he didn't decide to equip his fireworks there as well for the mana. I would like to see that actually.
Yeah, he kind of wastes 2 mana there.
Yeah. And he picks up a Sylvanas, which is really, really bad at this stage in the game. You want to play it after the opponents play something big. He even has 2 Shadow of Death, so he can steal something, but he needs some other minion than Sylvanas now to keep up pressure. And there's a Cabal. I actually think that he will play the Cabal here, even without any target, before the Sylvanas, because you want to save that Sylvanas until after your opponent plays some big stuff.
Yeah, and so what's big coming up for Trump? Trump's coming up on like turn 7, so if he plays like a Baron Geddon, maybe that'll come out, and good for the Sylvanas. But really, it's gonna be those turn 8 and 9 plays.
He's actually considering skipping turn here before playing a naked Cabal Shadow Priest, and
he
I'm
does.
not sure if I agree with that.
Maz passes his turn.
There are a lot of stuff you can use the Cabal Shadow Priest against, like Armor Smith and Acolytes, but I do believe instead of passing turn at turn 7, I think you should have played it. It's a Yeti for 6 mana, but it's better than playing nothing.
Alright, well,
this is the stuff that I was talking about. Like, I think you should just save save all your heavy minions until after you get Alexstrasza. You don't want to coin out Ragnaros here, because by your opponent not playing a single card at turn 7 with 6 cards in hand, you have to know that he has a Shadow of Death. And that's why he's not coining out the Ragnaros. That's why he's coining out a Naked Grommash with 4 power and 9 health, which is so hard to kill as a priest.
Yeah, 4 health or 4 attack minions, just what do you do with those? And in response, it's gonna be a good opportunity to drop that Sylvanas, like you said, after a big minion. But that's just, oh my gosh, how does
this is really good actually. He can faceless that Sylvanas and shield slam his own Sylvanas to steal his Sylvanas. So he has a great counterplay here.
And you're not gonna be able to do crazy things like he did it at DreamHack with shadow flaming Sylvanases to really like turn the game around and like blow everybody's minds. So
yeah,
no warlocks here. So the ability to steal this Sylvanas, I mean, that's the play he has to. That's the play he has to go for right here.
Yeah, I don't see any other play here. I mean, no, I don't see a single other play, because you need to remove his Sylvanas without it stealing something from you, and that's the only way you can do it. So there's just facelessing the. Like he's thinking about like maybe slamming his own groom and facelessing it to hit his face for 20 damage right now, and maybe pick up a kill later on. But that's really greedy play against a priest player, because he can then steal one of the grooms next turn.
I mean, I guess so. I feel like the faceless Sylvanas play is just a little bit too good though, and he's just gonna go to face with both of them. So he's just planning on letting it get stolen and then taking it back.
Yeah, that's but I don't like this play at all, because he's gonna attack face and Shadow of Death his own Sylvanas, and then he's gonna be against a 4/9 Grommash. It would have just been 10 times better to faceless. Maybe I didn't even see the play, but faceless Sylvanas was actually the optimal play there in any case scenario. So.
Yeah, so missing out on that opportunity, but instead he will have the opportunity, like you said, to kind of take it back and deal with it next turn. The big thing to watch out for, though, at least for both players, they're starting to get down there within, maybe some lower totals for life. So they'll be able to, get those back with things like, the Holy Fire and armor ups and stuff like that.
Execute is really important here, actually. I do believe this is a turn, like. Amas is gonna have 10 mana next turn, so you have to be afraid of that mind control. But mind control is only 1 card. Is it worth the risk playing the Ysera here? I think it is. Because you have that execute. Even if it gets stolen, you have an execute as an answer. And you can also faceless the Ysera and execute your opponent's Ysera if it gets mind control.
Oh man, we're starting to get into some big swings coming up here with things like Ragnaros, like Ysera, possibly to be played. Execute is going to be incredible here, because when you go for the things like the slam, he's going to enrage it, and then I guess, what do you, faceless execute?
Yeah, he's gonna faceless that and execute it. Now that he picked up the Cairn, he might consider playing Cairn execute, because Cairn is really hard to deal with as a priest, but he's gonna go for it. He knows that his opponent used 1 Shadow of Death, so it's not super likely that he has a second one, but we know that he has one, so this is gonna be easily dealt with.
And so Amaz will be able to reset the board off of this one. No Fiery War Axe to take him down to 10 health, but like you said, this will be a little bit of an evening of the score. It'll put Amaz back up in health if he wants to go for just like the Holy Fire to the face, but you kind of want to save that for trade potential.
Yeah, so we're just gonna see a Shadow of Death here, and I don't think he will play the Cabal, because he didn't play Cabal at turn 7, so I don't think he will play it now. He will just heal and pass turn. He's thinking about using the Holy Nova here as well. He's the possibility of, he doesn't have any Groom anymore, so there's no reason actually to use the Holy Nova here. You're not gonna die next turn, you know that for sure.
Yeah, the Holy Nova, I don't think it's going to be too good for like board clear. We're to the point in the game where it's so late that the minions that are going to be played are just going to be too big for anything like the Shadow Madness, like the Cabal to really be useful. And it's good for Maz to realize that and go for the Cabal play anyway, just realizing that there's probably not a whole lot that he can steal with it.
Yeah, so he decides to play a Naked Cabal here, and I'm really surprised with that, because He could have played it so much earlier to create pressure, but he decides to play it last minute now. Him going for... Oh wow, yeah. Maybe I would have liked to see the Rag there actually. I would like to see the Rag because he has seen that Amas used both of his Shadow of Death, so that Karen is gonna be dealt with much easier than a Rag. The only card that could actually do something against Rag is Mind Control.
Yeah, and Amaz does run a mind control, but he hasn't drawn it just yet. Throws down the Ysera too. He's really saving that Rag for its power potential later on, after everything's been dealt with on the board.
Oh my god, Amaz just top decked Mind Control for Ysera. The only answer he had for that, and he just top decked it. That is so huge here. And this is actually crazy because he got the Crazed Alchemist for the Ysera, which is 12 damage, and then the 5 damage from Ysera's Awakening, and the 2 damage from Holy Nova.
Oh my god!
That's so much damage actually.
So what is that? That's like the 12 damage, 19. Oh my god.
So he's 6 damage short, so in 2 turns, he's gonna be able to kill him unless... Oh yeah, he's gonna go for the 50-50
Rag
here.
Snipe. Where is it gonna land? It does hit the Ysera! Oh my god.
That is so important.
And the thing that like baffles me, I know it's kind of like, you know, lore or myth, it's that Amaz is traditionally the guy that pulls out the big Rag turns, but it's been consistently Trump almost every single one of these games, coming out with the biggest Rag shots I've ever seen versus Amaz. And killing off that Ysera is huge, because now you can't use the Crazed Alchemist. You've got a Rag of your own, which he does top deck, so now does he try to turn that Rag back in his favor?
Yeah, I mean, you need to clear the 4-1 here, the Karen, and you need to play the Rag and hope that it hits his Rag. But the only way of clearing the Karen is actually Ysera's Awakening, so it's not too good here because it's already so low. So if he misses that Rag, he will actually die next turn. That's what he's considering here.
This is do or die. We'll play Ysera's to clear the board, or at least clear it of everything but the Rag, and then go for the 50-50. But like you said, the 5 damage to his face puts him at 11 life if he does that. Now, he is so close to dying right now, and especially if this Rag doesn't hit, it gets game over.
Yeah, this is game over if this Rag doesn't hit for sure.
Oh, where's it gonna go? And it does! Oh my god! Amaz in it for one more turn.
Yeah, and now we see Massan Trump doesn't really have a lot of late game left. He already uses Ysera, Rag, and Groom. I'm not sure. I think he plays Baron Geddon as well, but I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, I think he does. Trump. I mean, the name of the deck was Baron Geddon, so you would imagine. Although he named his handlock deck Zoo, so you never know with this guy. We'll see if he gets to it. In the meantime, it throws down the Laughing Sister and then a couple of low health. This is actually where you want something like the Cabal, but he still plays a Shadow Madness if he wants to go that route. But he can't use that Holy Fire on the Laughing Sister.
Yeah, so let's see here. We got a couple of options here. He's just gonna double Holy Nova here to almost clear the board.
But it still allows the Laughing Sister to take the Rag hit if possible.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if you want it to hit the Laughing Sister. No, actually, it's gonna clear because of that. Yeah, Death Rattle effect. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't count that out. So, Rag survives, it clears the board. Circle of Healing now would keep the Rag out of execute range. So I guess he is gonna go for that.
That's for sure because he already used 2 shield slams, so that's not gonna happen. The only thing that can kill him is an execute. I believe he only used 1 execute so far.
Oh, so now Sylvanas comes out. You can't like Sylvanas Brawl here or anything crazy like that, but...
No, I think that this is Sylvanas' turn though, and shield block. So you start with a shield block.
Yeah, you start with that, draw into... Oh, Alex, but not really the most useful card, and there is
actually,
Sylvanas.
It's actually quite useful, because if the Rag misses the Sylvanas, you can actually take your, heal yourself back up to 15.
Oh, that's true in the defensive aspect, but... Yeah. Still, for Trump, that would basically use his entire turn just to get him back up to 15 health. And he does have that Sylvanas to trade into the Rag next turn if it does miss. So, could be a big, big swing here. Now, let's see what Amaz can do right now. He's got Holy Fire, so he can give away his Rag for free right now and take out the Sylvanas. probably not the option there, but he can create a swing in health if he does opt to use that.
Yeah, there's not really any good plays here. You can't holy fire the Sylvanas, you can't holy fire face. It's just a really awkward position here. Oh,
God,
I don't know, man, what to do here.
I don't know, Kev. It's not looking good for our heroes.
I think it's just playing the. No, you can't play the Crazed Alchemist because he'll just attack that with an axe and then he'll steal the rag for sure anyway. So the play here is actually just. Oh wait, if you can actually. Okay, so if you holy fire his face here and the rag hits face, he's down to 4 HP, and if the Sylvanas trade with the rag, next turn you can Crazed Alchemist the rag with the because he's gonna be at 3 health, and then you can Shadow Mana
take it with the
yeah.
Oh my God!
So that's actually the best play here. Holy fire face.
Way.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's always this is I think. This is.
Oh my God! That Shadow Madness could come into play on the rag.
But it hits the Sylvanas, and all his dreams are crushed right now. That would have been an epic play, actually.
If it had hit face, and then oh my God. That would have been so sneaky, but now he's just going to play the Alexstrasza to get himself back up to 15 HP, and then, oh no, to take Amaz down to 15. The rag will hit, although, I mean, double Sludge Belcher is also an option here for a very safe kind of play.
But what can he really die from here? Like, there's nothing in Priest that can kill him right now. So he should just go for the offensive here, in my opinion. I mean, he knows that 2 Shadow Ward deaths are wasted. He knows that Mind Control is gone. So double Sludge Belcher will also win in the game, actually, because he can't remove that rag. But he's playing around Organized Soul Priest Circle here, I think, by not playing the Sludge Belchers. So yeah, this is looking really tough here for Amaz.
He will Thought Steal and grab 2... relatively unhelpful minions, we'll put it that way.
All the big minions has already been played for Trump, so he knew that there was nothing good he could steal here, but he's gonna try hard this game to the last point.
Yeah, he'll heal himself out of rag range, but he's just gonna, I mean, I don't think he's too confused about that. He has the axe, he has the ability to just one-shot the unstable ghoul with the Black Knight, and oh baby, it's not looking good for our heroes. Gonna take him out there, even has the ability to just hit him straight in the face, and well, there you go.
Yeah.
So good game, and that will be Trump taking out Amaz's Priest. So the attempt at coming back against Trump's Hunter, which was, you know, inevitably what brought Trump back versus Amaz, is not gonna be there. It's so crazy back and forth.
Yeah, that was a pretty great game, actually.
So now it's what does Amaz go for? His Hunter's been banned, so he's got the chance, the choice of his Druid. And that'll be what he goes to is his last hope to stay in the tournament. He's paying the ban and doing all kinds of other stuff. So he loads in here with the Amaz Druid versus Trump's Warrior. And I think this is the more standard kind of ramp Druid, not the the super taunt.
Yeah,
there's Kel'Thuzad.
Not a lot of taunts in this deck. He runs Yetis and. He probably has something like 1, maybe 2 Sledge Belchers, but no more taunts than that, I think. Oh, wait, he is running Kel'Thuzad,
he does have Kel'Thuzad.
So that means that he might be running Ancient Wars, but playing Yetis then,
Alright, apparently we're going to have a little bit of a remake right now. Trump had some issues where he didn't actually load into the game, so... somewhat unfortunate. I mean, Amaz can play the single player, but he's never actually going to get the opportunity to because Trump didn't actually load in. So I think they're going to restart this, but maybe taking a little bit of a break while we get into that. So in between things, let me actually once again remind you of the giveaway. So if you haven't done this yet, we'll be taking a break just so you can, which is, you know, good guy hitbox, giving away 2 €20 Blizzard cards. So if you guys are interested in buying a ton of packs or putting the money towards another great Blizzard game, make sure to follow the channel. You click the follow button right down below, and that's all you need to do to enter yourself to win one of 2 €20 Blizzard cards. So just click the follow button. You're in the entry to win. And if you do win, then you'll be contacted via the email address that you used to sign up for Hitbox. And if that doesn't work, then make sure to tweet at Chaos TV. They're the ones putting on this tournament, and they'll hook you up with that. So make sure to hit the follow button, enter yourself to win one of 2 €20 Blizzard cards, and that should be all you need. But we're currently still waiting on Trump to get back in the game. It would appear as if there's been some pretty heavy technical difficulties, so we'll need to restart everything here. I've never actually seen this bug happen before, where you just like don't load into the game. Have you ever had this one, Forsen?
No, not really. The first time I see this one.
All right, new and exciting thing. So we are going to restart things, get Trump back where he needs to be, and everything loaded in. So it's going to take a couple minutes. So in the meantime, we're going to cut to some more of the most excellent music. I'm going to spam some more corgis in chat because that's one of the great things you can do here on Hitbox. So enjoy a little bit of a break before we load in to what could be the last game of this series. Okay, well, that was a little bit of a shorter break than I expected, but it does look like everything's good to go. Trump with his warrior, and now Amaz with the Druid. And we did actually mention that this is going to be more of the taunt Kel'Thuzad version of Druid, rather than the version that we saw guys like RDU play earlier on. So there's a lot of flexibility, and I love that about Druid, that you can play so many different styles with it. This is the big taunt Kel'Thuzad style coming out from Amaz.
Oh wow, here, because previously we saw him playing Yetis, but now he has Shield Masters as well. This is really weird. If he's playing double Yeti and double Shield Master and Keeper of the Grooves, that's a really heavy forward curve there. Maybe was it the correct deck? Was that the problem? Maybe he switched deck.
No, it's the same deck. I was watching it pick
Okay.
it. It's the same. This is really strange. And like you said, a huge forward curve for him. He's got 3 of those minions in his hand. And while he does have the ability to drop that Senjin here on turn 2 with the Innervate, like you said, still going to be a big pile of 4s if he draws into it.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the correct play actually, because now he's gonna fuck up his curve so much. He could have innervated out this Belcher on turn 3, and then played the Senjin on turn 4. But now he's gonna hero power for 2 turns basically if he doesn't play any minions that he could use swipe on.
Yeah, Mott's gonna hit a big dead period here in his curve, and I mean, to be honest, Trump doesn't have that great a curve either. He'll be able to coin out the Death Bite if he wants to this turn.
Yeah, but I don't think he wants to do that, because if he attacks with Death Bite, then he will leave his Senjin at 1. And the Whirlwind effect is really great, but you need to attack for it to trigger. So he needs to attack a 3-1 for a Whirlwind, and that's like really bad.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. So it's just hero powers for both players for a little bit longer. I mean, in a couple turns, maybe you know coin out the Black Knight, but at least for now, not a ton of options for either player.
Yeah, I mean, it really came back to bite him that it didn't wait one more turn for that Innovate. His curve would have been so much better. But Massan, I mean, Trump doesn't really have a lot of good plays here as well. He's just gonna equip the axe, and I don't... Yeah, okay, he's gonna attack as well. And that's actually... Okay, so that's actually really good. He's expecting something like a Sledge Belcher now on turn 5, and then he can attack the Sledge Belcher and clear the board completely except for the 1-2 ooze that remains.
Yeah, I think the best thing that Amaz could do is play like Druid of the Claw in charge mode right now, because then it would force the axe to hit the other taunt. But most likely, he could have played the Sledge Belcher, but he played around that right there.
But yeah, Amaz knows that that was a possibility, so he's not gonna play into that complete board wipe. So
that's
gonna pass turn
3
here,
hero powers in a row.
It's still bad. I mean, it's still bad. You have hero power 3 times in a row. You haven't played a minion except for that Senjin. Sure, you're ahead on life, but Trump got a lot of late game here.
Oh, but does he swing into the Ascension at this point? Like, he's gonna keep taking 3 damage if he doesn't, and he will go for it.
Yeah.
So, my question is like, okay,
that's the jailbait. That's the jailbait that Amas planted.
the 3-1.
Yeah.
It's too low health for anything else, but he kind of has to go for it. But a naked Sylvanas from Trump, that's just gonna get swipe hero powered.
Yeah, he can't play any minion into that. Faceless is not even a good option there, so he just needs to kill that. He's so high on life right now, so he doesn't need to worry about taking that 5 damage to the face.
Alright, yeah, he's so far ahead, so 29 to 15 now, and sure, Trump will be able to stack on some armor here, and he will draw into at least a lot of his, like, 7, 8, 9, some big late game curve. But at this point, Amaz is actually pretty far ahead. He's past the horrible part in his curve that he really had to worry about, and it's kind of weird that he got past that by, like, hero powering, like, 4 turns in a row.
I am really surprised that he decides to play that in front of the cow, because maybe he thinks that his opponent has a Black Knight, which he does in fact, but the cow is just so much stronger because it can't get shield slammed like that Belcher could have been.
Yeah, exactly, and especially it wasn't like he was short on mana or anything. He definitely had enough to make that one work. Does come up with a Mark of the Wild, so not sure if that's super huge or anything. He can actually use that on opponent's minions and then Black Knight them.
Yeah, you can, and that's actually gonna be his only play against Ysera when it comes out, because he doesn't have a silence in his hand right now. But right now, I think you want to play something that can kill that Belcher. He's thinking about marking of wilding his own minion and facelessing it to get 2, 5, 7 taunts with death rattles to get through. But I do believe you want to save that because you know that your opponent is playing Ysera. You know that you don't have a silence right now. So how are we going to deal with that Ysera without Mark of the Wild Black Knight? But he's going to hope that his opponent doesn't have it. And let's see if it's going to pay out or not.
I don't know, Kev. We'll see. There's 8 mana and a lot to do with it. If you're Trump, you don't want to throw down the Grommash. You've got the Rag in hand. But I guess he can't just like play the Belcher and go for, either Hero Power or Fiery War Axe. What does he do? I mean, he has Shield Slam too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to go for a Black Knight and execute here. I do 5/7. That's a very good target to Black Knight, and you get so much tempo back into the game with that 4/5 drop as well. So either you use the Shield Slam or the execute on that Belcher. Preferably the Shield Slam, or preferably the execute, of course. Already damaged, and he's gonna drop the Black Knight.
Yeah, I'll be able to take down both of those big Belchers, and that was so much for Amaz. Like, Amaz invested both a Faceless and that Mark of the Wild into that, and that's neither one of those things that he'll have to use on Trump's big monsters he's going to play in the next couple turns.
Yeah, for sure. And he needs to top deck a Silence next turn, because otherwise he can't deal with that Ysera. So he's in a really tough spot here.
Yeah, I'm still like thinking back to late game where we could have seen like a crazed alchemist Ysera. Like, I was hoping for that play so badly, but with Ysera coming right back into play again, Amaz does have a Sylvanas, which under the right circumstances could deal with Ysera, but I don't think Trump would ever put himself into that position. So 9 mana, what do you do with it?
Picks up a Harvest Golem, not the greatest. I mean, yeah, he could play the Horus Golem here and swipe and hero power, which clears the board completely. But it's still, the problem remains. How is he gonna deal with this Ysera? I mean, there is basically nothing in his hand that could, like, you could play the Sylvanas, but that won't solve the problem right away. I mean, you have to wait one turn and then maybe make something happen. But yeah, he's just gonna go straight for the Ysera here. Not hesitating. Oh, he is hesitating. Oh.
No, he does drop this Ysera. Gets a Nightmare off of it too.
He needs to be a bit scared though, because his opponent has not used Silence yet, so he needs to think that he has a Silence, but in fact he does not. So
nothing but that Sylvanas. So Sylvanas comes down, and I mean, he's got some other drops that he could go for. He could, iterate out the Soonwalker, but I don't know, like you
Yeah,
said, there's nothing to deal with the Ysera.
he's thinking about intervening it out. He's thinking about the possibilities of Brawl, playing into Brawl. If he Brawls here, the Sylvanas will steal the Ysera if it survives, but he's gonna play into Brawl anyway. This is kind of a risky play here.
I guess he figures if he brawls, sure, he loses a lot, but that does deal with the Ysera, so
Yeah.
I don't know. As is, there's no brawl in hand. What's the play here? He's got the ability to take down both of those taunt monsters, but that Sunwalker is actually a little bit difficult to deal with. But at this point, he can kind of just sit on Ysera and wait to draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, I mean, you have, even if he steals this Ysera next turn, you can kill it with something like Nightmare BGH. So you're not too afraid of him getting the Ysera for one turn. But I don't see any like perfect play here actually. It's really tough here for Trump.
All right, well, it does look like the play will include the Armor Smith. I can throw that one down, and then
maybe you just play the Armor Smith and the Belcher and try to buy yourself some more time, get some more cards from that Ysera before it gets stolen. And that's what it's gonna do here.
So he's gonna send the Ysera to break that Divine Shield.
You want it damaged, so if it gets stolen, you can easily kill it.
Yeah, but it is gonna draw him another card. It's a Laughing Sister. It seems like I get more Laughing Sisters than any other cards from Ysera.
Yeah, the best cards are for sure Ysera's Awakening and Dream. Those are the two best cards you can draw in most of the scenarios. But right now it's not too bad with the Laughing Sister.
All right, now Amaz rather is going to be able to get through the Sludge Belcher this turn, and he'll have those two others. But this is just armor and armor and armor coming Trump's way. He's back up to 22 health this turn, and Amaz, he's had the health lead all game long, but the more armor that Trump gets, the more he's going to be able to use that. I think that was his last shield slam, if I'm correct.
It was. And he's gonna uproot here, I mean taunt mode here, and he's not afraid of Ysera's Awakening that much, because you know that actually Ysera's Awakening would be pretty bad here, because you can run the Ysera into that taunt mode and then the Armor Smith and clear everything and let him steal a 4-4 4-3 Ysera that you can easily deal with just a War Axe. So, but he did not get an Awakening. You know that.
All right, well, let's see. He's got one Armor Smith on the field. He's still got that Ragnaros that he hasn't dropped just yet, and you can't really do that with the Sylvanas on the field.
Yeah. There is a play here. It's kind of risky, but there is a play. You could go for the Nightmare on the Sylvanas. BGH it. You play the Laughing Sister and Armor Smith as well, and hope that it steals one of those, like Armor Smith preferably, but maybe Laughing Sister, not the Ysera, and get another card from the Ysera for some turns.
Oh man, well, Trump is going to play the Armor Smith, and then, like you said, if he goes for the Laughing Sister second, he might try for that just good RNG play.
Yeah.
But that does risk a lot from going for that. And I mean, even if he steals something else, like there's a big board that Amaz has developed, and without something like Brawl, there's not a whole lot of ways to get through that other than, like, you know, Ysera Awakens or...
Yeah, so he's running out of time here, so he needs to make his decision quickly. And he's hovering the Armor Smith, he's hovering... Yeah, he's gonna do the play, I think. Oh.
Alright, well...
We'll see.
Okay, he's just gonna trade things out.
No, he's not using the Nightmare BGH combo just yet. He's saving it for a sunnier day.
Gets another Laughing Sister in hand. So I was talking about, like, you get tons of Laughing Sisters. So he's going to be laughing a lot, but I don't know. This next turn is going to be big for Amaz. He's got, what is that?
He can actually steal that Ysera right now by running his 5-10 into a 1-4, his Horus Golem into the 1-3, here powering it, trading the Sylvanas into the Laughing Sister. And I think he's gonna do that play, but first you can draw cards if you want to, because you're gonna have some mana remaining.
All right, draws into Kel'Thuzad
Oh,
and
if
the
he would have
Black
gotten
Knight.
that last turn, that would have been actually so sick with the Sylvanas.
Because then you get Sylvanas back over and over again.
Yeah.
At that point, you just reach for the concede button as fast as possible.
So he's making the play that I was talking about, which is the best play by far in this scenario. He's gonna steal the Ysera, he's gonna have a 5, 9 and a 5-5 on the table. The only thing that can bring this back now in Trump's favor is a Brawl.
And how many times have we seen Brawl turn it around? And he top decks the Brawl!
Oh my god, really?
Oh, baby!
So, you have the Brawl. I do believe you play your Laughing Sister here, because he has so many big stuffs on the board, so you need to play something of your own to minimize the odds of any one of those surviving.
Man.
You could also do another play, and that is just brawling, and then if something big survives, you can play the Nightmare and BGH to kill it off. But I do prefer the Laughing Sister here, actually.
Yeah, and that's exactly the play Trump's gonna go for, man. His top deck has to be so hard right now, like, oh my god. And let's see what wins the Brawl.
Oh
It is
my
the
god.
Laughing Sister.
Laughing his
What
face
did
right now.
Trump just do? He completely turned the game around. He's back up to 29 HP. And he's got the board control, an axe in play, and Amaz has to be thinking to himself.
And
like,
that Brawl was actually, if he didn't get that Brawl that turn, it would have been game over, because he would have been able to play Kel'Thuzad next turn, and you can't kill Kel'Thuzad like without. Oh, he actually has Nightmare and BGH, but the rest of the minions would have survived if he couldn't kill the Kel'Thuzad, because he had taunts up.
Oh my god. Well, at this point, I mean, Amaz does have, a Laughing Sister of his own, so he gets Laughing Sister and a Sledge Belcher, so it's not like either player is really at risk of dying, but it's all about the momentum, because we are getting here towards the end game. A lot of resources have been expended, and man, I just can't get over that Brawl. That was, to quote Admirable again, a
He's gonna
huge
throw
play.
up Groom here, actually. That's interesting. I would much rather have seen the Rag here, actually. For
He'll
sure.
be able to trade down, but there's especially with that BGH in Amaz's hand, he is not too worried about the Grommash.
Yeah. The Grommash, I mean, he's thinking if it survives, he actually has lethal next turn, because he can Nightmare and Faceless it, but it's not gonna survive, because he has a BGH in his hand. Oh, he's gonna play the Kel'Thuzad though. He's gonna play Kel'Thuzad and sacrifice his 3-5, which is a superior play, because you keep your BGH for next turn for the Ragnaros.
Well, that's actually really smart too, usually utilizing that Kel'Thuzad, and now Trump has a couple of plays in hand. He can drop the Ragnaros, he can go for the Nightmare BGH combo to get rid of Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, I think that the optimal play here is actually facelessing that Kel'Thuzad, slamming it, using Fiery War Axe to attack it, and then sacrifice your 3... Oh, he's trying to Nightmare his own... Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't Nightmare the Laughing Sister.
Yeah, but if he faces that Kel'Thuzad, he can actually kill it with Slam, Axe, and the Laughing Sister, and then get the Laughing Sister back. So that's actually the optimal play here, in my opinion. And you have the 6-8 that can't get BGH'd by your opponent instead of the Rag that can actually be BGH'd.
Yeah, I think the only way you could BGH that is if you had something like Mark of the Wild, and he already used that, so... I think he only runs one of them in the deck too, so no possibilities there. So yeah, just gonna go for the Faceless. We'll see if he does the slam combo next, and I think he will.
Yeah, it looks
So
like
no, he's actually Nightmaring BGHing it.
Oh wow, I do not like that play.
I think
that much.
saving the Nightmare for lethal later on would have been a good option.
Yeah,
but as
for
is,
sure. That Laughing Sister is not even gonna die here. Like,
yeah, so he doesn't get any value off the Kel'Thuzad.
No, that was a really weird play there by Trump. But we'll see. Maybe he has some grand master plan in the end.
Yeah, so that BGH, at least for now, is a pretty dead card. Amaz, he'll draw into an Ancient of War, and he can play that, but at the same time, like, he's really just not developing this board. And with Kel'Thuzad out, like, I don't think Trump cares about suiciding as much into it as he wants.
Oh, there's actually no play he can make here, because if he plays that Ancient of War, it will just get traded by the 4-2, the 3, and the Axe, and then those two will respawn. So he will have gotten nothing from that, except wasted a charge on his Axe.
So is Amaz just dead here? I mean, he's not facing off against lethal next turn because that nightmare was used earlier.
Yeah. What can you cycle for here? What can you really cycle for? I don't know, man. He used both swipes.
Yeah, there's only so many options left. I mean, you're down like 20 cards in your deck. You're coming up on the end of, you know, the options that you have, and Trump just sitting with a huge board.
Yeah, there is actually no good play here. No good play at all. I think he just cycled the Wrath. I don't know actually what he has in his deck, but I don't think there's anything that can kill that.
Well, he is going to go for the cycle. And a cycle of life and death continuing. But what's he going to get off of that? Yeah, he gets the silence, actually.
Silence, that's actually really, really good.
At least he doesn't have to worry about minions respawning, and he'll stay alive.
What? Didn't kill the Laughing Sister with 1 health? Oh yeah, he just went full Reynad in this game.
Oh,
I mean,
my
he
God.
ran out of time admitting a mistake. Yeah.
The rope
kill the
hanging
Laughing Sister for sure.
And so now he's going to take that 3 damage twice, you know, getting attacked and then having to clear it next turn if he can. But if you look at the slam coming out, this is just going to be a great turn for Trump. He's going to be able to kill that the keeper, hit everything to the face, and play Ragnaros the turn after. Or not the turn after, but yeah, the turn after he drops the Cairn.
Yeah, this is it basically over here. I don't see any way of him coming back to this game.
Yeah, where's that Ysera's Awakening when you need it? I don't know. But he throws down the taunt. He's going to root it up and I guess put as big a wall as he can. Yeah. Well, this turn he hit the sister at least, so he made up for that mistake later on, but this is just not going to cut it.
Still 3 damage that he took for nothing.
Yeah, and this is at the end of the game when your health total really matters, and there's just not a good way of getting yourself back into this. And even though Kel'Thuzad is silenced, there's still the execute in hand. The Ragnaros is coming out, and he's going straight to the face with this, and also straight to the bank with an excellent play. And Trump coming up big in the very last game he gets to play in the Invitational. He's going to take out Amaz. Oh my God, that game is so back and forth. You had huge brawls. That was one of the biggest brawls I've ever seen.
Yeah, that brawl was actually deciding that game. It was so big.
Yeah, perfect brawls, great RNG, and well played there. Trump will actually take the 3rd place, and that'll be the difference between $300 and $200. So Maz will exit this Invitational in 3rd place. Or in 4th place, he'll get $200. Trump, with that big win, will take $300 home in 3rd place. And that means it's time for the grand finals as RDU will face off against Massan in the grand finals. Winner will take home a $1,500 first place prize. And of course, 2nd place will get $500. So a big grand finals coming up here in just a minute. The Heroes of Cards Invitational here on Hitbox TV. Before we cut to a little bit of a commercial break, I'm going to give you guys one last chance to enter this raffle. And you're like, what's the raffle? How do I enter it? Well, the raffle is a giveaway for 2 €20 Blizzard cards. So if you want to pick up some extra packs or buy another Blizzard game, then we'll be giving away 2 €20 Blizzard cards at the end of the show. But if you guys want to enter that, all you have to do is hit the follow button right down below the screen. So you just hit the follow button. It's super easy. You don't have to pay anything. It's not like a subscription feature. You can still subscribe, but by hitting the follow button, you'll enter yourself automatically to win these 2 €20 Blizzard cards. We'll contact you via the email address that you used to sign up for your Hitbox account, and that'll let you get a chance to win those Blizzard cards. So stick around. We'll have one last game. The grand finals coming up here between RDU and Trump, and we'll be doing the giveaway and closing things out. So thank you guys so much for watching the Heroes of Cards Invitational here on Hitbox TV. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the grand finals.
ocean waves and try to come to life. Don't let go of the bright blue sky, because the future's looking far too light. Are you ready for a long dive ship to set sail and carry me through the starry night? Dream of me whenever you are feeling oh so lonely. Try to leave your fears behind. We are locked in an orbit racing round the dots of newly worlds that make a light. Keep your eyes on mine. Touchdown on the surface of my heart. The feeling's never gone. A brave adventurer like me remembers everywhere that I've come from. Keep your feet to the vacuum sky, cause it's surrounding us out here. Follow the trail of the stardust of the ones that came before us, and we'll see what we've always been. Dream of me whenever you are feeling oh so lonely. Try to leave your fears behind. We are locked in an orbit racing round the dots of newly worlds that make a light. Keep your eyes on mine. Flowers that bloom in the darkness, it's a sighting that is rare to come across. Nobody seems to have noticed that the power that could be bestowed is lost, riding through the twilight. This armory protects my heart. rather be no other place than here with you now. Here with you now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hitbox TV's Heroes of Cards Hearthstone Invitational. My name is Rapid. I'm joined here by Forsen. We'll be role-playing as your casters for today's games. And we've come down all the way to the grand finals, and it's $1,500 on the line for first place, $500 for second place, and after some incredible games, it's come down to RDU versus Massan. Now, RDU's already gone ahead and banned Warlock, not the Hunter, and consistently he hasn't banned a Hunter. He's been able to win against it in 2 deciding last games of the series. So we have Warlock and then Hunter banned from Massan. So gonna hop into the grand finals. It is a best of 7. We'll be loading into that here in just a minute. So we've got bans out of the way, and it's going to be RDU starting out with his shaman versus Massan's Druid. And this is the Strife Crow Druid, I believe. No, it's not.
No, this is the one that was running. No, he hasn't been running this. This is the deck that we haven't seen yet from Massan.
Oh, that's right. RDU is the one been running Strife Crow Druid. So yeah. This is a Druid deck with a lot of taunt in it. Could be the Kel'Thuzad version because he's drawn into what looks like a handlock hand. But
from the looks of it, it looks like the Druid that the Ragnaros was playing in HyperX Invitational with some Furies and Ancient Watchers. I don't think this is a very strong Druid, but we'll see here what he has in his deck.
You know, it's interesting, and he does have that synergy, able to throw up a very early taunt wall, but that's like very strong defensively, and it lets you set up for other things, but of course it's not going to kill him early or anything like that. So he also will have the Archmage in his hand, so Thalnos for the swipe in powers, which can be really, really good, especially against RDU, who's going to want to set up a lot of 2 health creatures.
Yeah, so he's deciding to play the Sun Fury here because of the reason that he can actually clear totems and stuff with the 2 power. But he plays in Harvest Golem, and he can't really do much about that Harvest Golem right now.
Yeah, that Harvest Golem's really difficult, and this is, you know, the standard Druid or standard Shaman that you're used to seeing. Just puts down sticky minions, floods the board, and he doesn't have to worry about anything crazy like, you know, unleash combos like he would from Hunters. But he is in range for some bad swipes coming up if he does play out into those. But he's got a lot of options in hand. He even has the Earth Shock for things like the Thalnos.
Yeah, the Earth Shock is probably going to be played here. I don't see any other play. And then he could either play the Horus Golem or he could coin out an Argus here. But the coin Argus is not really that great because you can't get any value. You can't get through that 4-5 unless you use your Flame Tongue here. So it's going to be interesting to see here. Yeah, he's going to break through here. It doesn't really matter what he Lightning Bolts here because he's going to trade anyway. So he's going to trade a Spider into the 4-5 and that one is going to survive either way.
Yeah, and I like that play because it keeps the Harvest Golem intact, so you've still got that Death Rattle out there. So there's still going to be something on the other side of the Flame Tongue, which means that if you do clear that first, then that's what you're going to have to deal with. But he's going to charge out a Druid of the Claw, kill the Flame Tongue, and that'll make that Harvest Golem a lot less scary.
Really good play. You don't want to taunt up there because both of the possibility of Hex and another Rock Biter or Lightning Bolt to trade with the Flame Tongue and Harvest Golem. So charging is definitely the right play here. And he picks up a Harvest Golem, which gonna buff that dude that gets buffed by Death Rattle.
Yeah, the Undertaker is gonna take that one. Yeah. It's not something that I've seen out of a lot of I don't know, out of Nax cards. It's kind of situational, but when you can cram tons of Death Rattles into just about any deck now, especially with the Sticky Shaman deck, this is it's great card. It's already gotten buffed so far. He will be able to kill it this turn with a Druid of the Claw, but at the same time, he has a Sludge Belcher to back it up, even though it's going to be damaged. So
yeah, I think you want to play the Sledge and you want to trade the Undertaker with your 4/4 before he gets bigger. That's like top priority. But he's actually gonna cycle here, which is really weird to me, because now you can't protect your Druid of the Claw.
And it's not like you're really taking too much pressure off the board. The Harvest Golem is just going to return itself, and that means you're hero powering, and that does seem like a much weaker option because, I mean, the Watcher is not too much of a threat here. He has an Argus for next turn, but he won't be able to get value out of that unless he draws a cheap creature.
Yeah, because he needs to plan turns ahead there, because he knows that he most likely will play the Druid of the Lore, the Ancient of Lore next turn, and then he's not gonna get any value from that Ancient Watcher. So playing that preemptively like this is not really super good play here. It's just gonna sit there on the board.
Totem. He does coin out a totem.
He wants an Argus target for next turn.
Yeah, an Argus target. The 1/1 totem, one of the worst totems you can get out there. It's not going to be super helpful, but he does. Massan does still have that Sludge Belcher from last turn, but the problem with that is that it wasn't a lore turn. Like that's what he wanted to play there, but he needed to get that taunt up.
That 1/1 totem actually prevented him from playing lore, because you need to hero power that totem. If it's a 1/1, you need to use your hero power, and then you only have 5 more mana, and then you can only play the Sludge Belcher. So if that was anything else, you could have played the Ancient of Lore.
Yeah, so it's not like that was a bad turn, it's just that it wasn't the best turn that Massan could have gotten, and he'll still have the lore for this turn. Gonna be able to get some card draw off of that. And he'll draw into, let's see, Sludge Belcher and the Force. So he has the combo in hand right now, and with no healing from RDU's Shaman, this could get really scary.
Yeah, and trading that into the Horse Golem was definitely the correct play, because otherwise he can play the Loatheb right into the Sludge Belcher and get a lot of value. He has an Argus, so it's not gonna matter, but Massan didn't know that. So is he gonna trade here? No, he's going straight for the Dome, which is really, really bad considering he might have Black Knight in his hand. He needs to play around that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know that Black Knights are going to be out there, especially for Druid decks. Massan actually thanking him for that if he wants to go for it. And he does, so I don't think Massan's too worried about that. More taunts to come out from RDU, so at least he keeps himself safe from, you know, immediate death. But with Kel'Thuzad coming out, that, oh my god, he's just gonna ping with that, and then.
I'm not sure if this is the correct play actually. You could have just Argused your 4/5 and 5/5, traded it into that and played a Sludge Belcher with 3 attack to deal with all of his minions.
Does he still go? I think he still goes for the Sludge Belcher, but it is a little bit off of what he was looking for.
That was a mistake in my opinion. Could have played this turn a bit better. You could have saved that Wrath for a rainier day.
Yeah, it wasn't like he really needed card draw either. Like, yeah. Kind of confusing to not just Argus up there, but now it's up to RDU. He drops the Drake and he'll get spell power and of course that draw off of it. The totem is a healing totem, but I don't think that's going to save any of the cards he wants to trade here. Yeah,
so this turn we're most likely going to see a combo actually to just clear the board here. Because Kel'Thuzad is not really that good here. You can't sacrifice your minions into anything.
Yeah, I guess.
Though another Ancient of Lore, that's pretty big top deck. But I mean, I would like to see the combo here actually, just to clear everything. Yeah, and I think he's gonna go for that. And he can transition into Ancient Lore next turn.
So this is going to be big for board clear. How does the combo work when you have Kel'Thuzad out? Does it bring the Trents back?
Can't play them if you already have Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, if you already have it out.
Yeah, it brings them back, but they die immediately, so they're not staying on the board. They're just dying.
But they keep respawning over and over again.
No, only one time. Only one time.
Oh, that's true. Okay. That's a little bit unfortunate. But
you can
not really.
There is some nice things you can do though, like if you have a cool Taskmaster and a Kel'Thuzad, you get to draw cards from that when they die twice.
Oh my god, I hadn't thought about that one. That's pretty crazy. But I haven't really seen too many Kel'Thuzad combos. I think we've only seen and played once or twice this tournament so far. And that shouldn't be the play here either.
No, he's definitely going to go for card draw, I believe. If he would have had that Wrath still, if he didn't waste it like that, he could have dealt with that Fire Elemental. He can still deal with it, but then he has to take 6 damage to the face here. Think about the Kel'Thuzad, he still hasn't seen a single Hex, so he needs to be afraid of that. So I would play... Oh, he's healing actually. That's... Wow, okay, so he's really afraid of something here.
I mean, the possibility of having lethal that turn wasn't extremely high. He almost has to trade the fire elemental into that ancient watcher.
I mean, if he would have had that Earthshock there and a rock biter, that would have been 18 damage that he could have done. So he could have died there, but he already used one Earthshock, so I think that's a risk you're willing to take and just draw more cards. He did, however, pick up that Hex, which is really important now that Kel'Thuzad is going to come out most likely next turn. He's thinking about, he's going to Hex that right now because he's thinking that that's one of the biggest drop he has, but we know that he has Kel'Thuzad in stand, so it's not actually that good right now, but it's a good play, you know.
And he still is able to clear the board, so he's got that control there. And against a Druid, you never have to worry about weapons. So the Harrison this turn is just, it's good to get another minion out on the board. You're not going to get any more value out of it than you would in that situation. So pulls up 4 minions on the board, and now it's up to Massan. He does have swipes, so he can take care of at least the Harrison and the Fire Elementals. So that takes most of the damage off the board. But like you said, big Wind Fury combos are still something he has to worry about.
Yeah, he was playing into swipe there pretty hard. His opponent hasn't used a single swipe, so he maybe could have taken that in consideration before playing the Hearthstone. But you can never know for sure, so it's a good risk, maybe.
And Massan was actually thinking about using the second swipe there at the end on the Tinker, but didn't decide to do that. And I think that's obviously a better play. So for this next turn, it depends on what he draws into, obviously. But if you're Massan, like, how are you? I mean, he was scared enough to heal a couple turns ago, but now he's this late in.
This is, I think you need to swipe that Flame Tongue before you play your Kel'Thuzad. You cannot let that live. And then you need to hero power. Yeah, he's gonna use the Innovate at the top deck to be able to play that Kel'Thuzad as well this turn. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good turn to get Kel'Thuzad out. There's not too many threats out there on the board, and even though the Spirit Wolves will come out, that's primarily, like I said, a defensive option. He does have that 3 damage from lightning, but that's most likely later on.
He's thinking here, do I have better chances of winning if I wait for a Rock Biter, or do I need to kill this Kel'Thuzad right now? And he's thinking that he has 2 Rock Biters in his deck for the win next turn. If a wolf dies, he's like, yeah, he got exactly lethal if a wolf dies, but not with that taunt up.
Okay, and now with the Argus used, that's a 7/7 Kel'Thuzad out there, and I guess I'm not sure why he damaged. I guess that was the best option there. Does armor up there at least, and even though the healing totem's gonna heal.
Oh my god, he just top decked the Hex. That's huge actually.
It's not lethal this turn because he doesn't have a rock biter,
no,
but hexing that,
it was so important.
Just took away all the options that Massan had.
Yeah, and he's thinking about lightning bolting that, and I think it's the correct play because otherwise he can trade with hero power and that to kill a wolf and it will survive. So just getting rid of that.
Oh my god. And this is a horrible spot to be in for Massan. He only has those 3. He's got Lotheb, but at the same time, it's gonna be a big taunt. But that's his entire hand.
Yeah, but he knows that his opponent has no more Hex. He has no cards in hand. How he's gonna deal with this Loathab? He needs the Earth Shock here. And let's see what he top decks.
Does still have one. Alakir.
Alakir. Okay, that's actually gonna help him a lot.
Alright, so he's definitely playing that Alakir. When he throws it down there, he's gonna get some wins on the side. And that'll
You're
be
gonna
6
attack
damage.
once only though, because you want to trade with the Wolf and the 2/4 to keep that Alakir alive.
Mm-hmm. Or he's thinking about actually hitting it with his face. Whoa.
That's...
RDU goes down to 5 health. But he does have 3 taunt minions up.
It's fine, because we know that, or he knows that both swipes are gone. So there's actually no card that can kill him.
Oh no.
Right
Massan
Lord.
draws into Death Lord.
horrible
Definitely.
card when your opponent has a healing totem.
Especially, yeah, not against shaman. So that Death Lord is definitely going to die, and that's going to give an extra monster out on the field. What's it going to be? Oh, it's a naked Argus. I guess that's not actually too bad, but against a full board, no way to clear it. Massan is out of options.
Massan is just, I don't know, he has no more options in his deck, I would assume, if he's not running Deathwing, but I do not think he's running Deathwing. So this is
Nope.
kind of much over.
That Harvest Golem is not a Deathwing, and so Massan has to know he is pretty dead this turn.
Yeah, he has lethal on board, so I don't know why he's not leaving here. It's 6, 8, 10, 11, 13 damage.
Yeah, he's gonna force RDU to realize that he has to attack with all of his minions to win the game. Which is probably not that difficult of a realization. Ending it with perfect lethal. RDU plays it late, and it was kind of tense there for a while, but the Hex of the taunted Kel'Thuzad, and then he also hexed he was able to trade out with the wins against taunted Loathab there at the end. So that is a game 1 win for RDU, and his shaman deck's name is Huck Handlock. So apparently not a big fan. That's actually why he banned the Warlock instead of banning the Hunter. But that does mean that Massan is going to be able to use his Hunter, and that will be the class that he'll be pulling out here in game number 2. So Hunter, kind of the big scary class nobody wants to play against, so it's been banned more times than I think any other deck this tournament, which is, I guess, fairly expected. But what's not expected is RDU leaving it up, and this is the Trap Arcane Golem variety.
Oh, this is what I was thinking about doing to tournaments, bringing to tournaments, because if you're not a very good Hunter player and you haven't practiced it a lot, you can bring Aggro Hunter just so it gets banned, and you can play your other classes, because everyone is banning Hunter, everyone except RDU right now. And if you bring a Hunter and you happen to play it, like you happen to be able to play it because RDU doesn't ban it, then at least you're playing something very simple and aggro with the Hunter, and not the mid-range one.
Yeah, a lot of people underestimate. They think, hey, I pick Hunter, I play it, and it's an easy win. But there's a lot of finesse to it, which is the reason why maybe RDU hasn't been banning it quite so much, because he doesn't consider the players that he's playing against as good enough Hunter players. So turn 1, it's going to be tracking here. Which one of these does he go for?
Obviously the Unleash. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, against the Shaman, building up totems and sticky minions with the 1/1 tokens like the Spider, you want those Unleash combos. That's the way you win this matchup. So
definitely the Unleash. He loses the a couple of cards there with Leopardone coming out. This is really weird, and he's gonna actually give away. Okay, he is coining out the Animal Companion, so he's not quite giving away what kind of Hunter it is.
No, not yet. But this is kind of awkward though for RDU with that hand. He's gonna be able. I think he's gonna lava burst that one. Most likely. You don't want to use the Hex, because he still thinks like he should have hexed. If he knows what kind of deck this is from Massan, he would have hexed there. But he still thinks this is mid-range, so he needs to save those hexes for Sana High main. But the biggest creature that aggro Hunter will ever have is like a Misha, or maybe a taunted Misha or whatever. But
Yeah, and so now he sees the leper gnome come out and he's like, what? Alright, it's aggro hunter. And he immediately drops that earth shock, so leper gnome is no more. And at this point, all he has to do is, you know, put out enough stuff on the board that the aggro hunter never has the opportunity to hit his face, or he'll wind up losing those trades pretty hard. So,
and I'm really surprised by that flare, by the way, because in tournament settings, you're allowed to ban hunter. So there is not, if you're gonna ban hunter every time, you don't really need those flares. Maybe he's afraid of mage, but we'll see if he runs 1 or 2 flares. I'm gonna be really surprised if he runs 2 flares here.
Well, and especially he's running flares and tracking, so that's a lot of dig for your deck.
Yeah.
Even just there. So, Eagle Horn Bow coming out, that's a good way to trade out versus that Taunt Totem if he wants to go for that. But he doesn't even have any traps in hand to empower that later on, so that would be a little bit dead next turn.
Yeah, I think you just equip Bow and Hero Power here. You definitely don't flare. I think that's not the correct play, because you want to use that hero power every turn. Now it's super awkward because now we can't play that bow and hero power.
Yeah, he loses the opportunity to get that free damage down, and these are classes that don't have native healing in them, so when you chip away with that hero power, that actually matters a lot, especially for Face Hunter, where you're just desperate to get as much damage down early as you can. And he's actually going to skip playing the bow to hero power and lose that 2 mana.
Yeah, it's definitely correct to hero power here before the bow, but the mistake was in that he flared. And that's really mana inefficient. If you didn't flare, you could equip that bow, not attack of course, because you want to wait for that buzzard and unleash for the totems, but use the hero power as well. Oh, and a second bow. That's really bad.
That's pretty bad. That means that not only, and the bow would have traded very well against the Harvest Golem earlier, but he's actually, he's not gonna, okay, he unleashes the Hounds, uses the Hunter's Mark, and he's gonna be able to clear here if he decides to hit with the bow, but instead, like a good Face Hunter, just going straight to face, and he does have RDU down to 18 health.
Yeah, he has double Lightning Storm in his hand right now, and that's really useless considering he just used an Unleash as well, so... But that Lothar pickup is actually huge. That is gonna prevent him from playing kill commands and Hunter's Mark efficiently.
Yeah, he'll still be able to play the Hunter's Mark if he wants to really get rid of that Lothar, but he has better options in hand anyway, and he's a Face Hunter, so it's not like it takes a lot of strategy to hit the guy in the face.
Yeah, that Wolf Rider is a pretty good pickup. I believe just going to the Dome with... You could have maybe could have traded the Wolf for the Searing Totem there, but either play is fine actually, because Shaman doesn't have any healing at all. You think about going for the Arcane Golem as well.
Oh.
But that's quite a mistake, because if you want to go for the the Arcane Golem, you should have traded the 1/1 Doggy for the 1/1 Searing Totem, because now we can trade the 1/1 Searing Totem with the Wolf Rider and the Harvest Golem with the Arcane Golem.
Yeah, and that takes all this pressure off the board. Now, granted, there is lethal next... Wait, no, he'd need to draw a cheap beast for there to be lethal.
But RDU needs to realize that there's a possibility of a kill command coming up, so he needs to clear all the beasts here without taking any damage himself. And that's exactly what he's gonna do here, and he's gonna drop the Alec to create pressure.
That
so
Alec
now,
here.
Massan needs to top take either an Arcane shot or a beast here. See what it top takes here.
Grabs a Timberwolf, so there is that 2 damage.
Yeah.
And oh my god, Massan.
That's
the Face Hunter power, just not enough in time to put in front of all that damage. And the Arcane Golem even paying off last turn gets him right within range. A perfect lethal there for Massan. And that's 1 game win for the Hunter. Can RDU come back for this? He led Hunter through, and that did cost him a game here. I don't think he's done with this just yet. Of course, this is a best of 7, keep in mind, so that Face Hunter is going to have to go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, Face Hunter is actually even better against Shaman than the mid-range version, because they don't really have any uses of their Hex in that matchup. So it's actually a really strong deck to play here.
Well, we're going to have the next decks coming out, and it does look like, in response to the Face Hunter, RDU's bringing out his Miracle Rogue.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's very surprising to me actually, because I do believe he has a warrior, right?
he does. Yeah, they both players brought warrior.
So the warrior is actually really good against face hunter, but maybe he thinks that his warrior is too late game based to make. I don't know. I think yeah, that's probably the case. Because otherwise you would play the warrior for sure. Those
Yeah, especially
unstable
if it's
ghouls and armor smith are just like too much for a face hunter.
yeah, you can throw down those early taunts, and then you also have like huge amounts of armor that face hunter just loses too much tempo if they start hitting face too much. So
Yeah.
I mean, RDU obviously knows what he's playing into, so we'll see what he goes for here. He drew a decent early hand. He does have that auctioneer in there if he needs it. He's gonna
And
coin out
Cossim.
SI.
Yeah, Conrad SI here into Farseer next turn is the best play for sure. You want to start creating pressure on your opponent. You don't want to just to throw shit at you. But we know that he has a bow here, so he can deal with that SI very, very efficiently.
Alright, so nice bow turn. And in fact, the bows and even like fiery war axes, if you're playing warriors, are so good against rogues. They have so many 3 health minions, it just lets you chunk through them very easily. It's a great turn 3, but alright, walk me through playing the Naked Van Cleef there.
Okay, so the Naked Van Cleef here is to make the hunter waste his last charge on the bow before he gets a trap. If he doesn't do that, then he will be taking 2 damage every turn. Oh, he got the Misha though. He got the Misha, so that's really good.
Huge.
And
Yeah,
also, if he decides not to kill that and play a trap, you can trap check the freezing with a Van Cleef, and that's really, really good. That you just played for 3 mana and didn't invest anything into.
Yeah, no traps in Massan's hand just yet. When he turns his hand back over to RDU, what's he gonna go for? Let's see. He does. He's got 4 mana, so
He's
goes
gonna
for the Shiv. Yeah.
and hero power here, unless he draws something good, but no, did not. So it's hero power and
Yep.
taking 4 to the face.
Takes 4 to the face, goes down to 24, but does clear the board. And next turn is the turn 5, and because he did, he has Lotheb in his hand. Doesn't want to drop the auctioneer because he has Conceal in his hand already too. So probably is that a Drake turn or Lotheb next turn?
It depends on. Okay, so he's playing a knife juggler here, and let's see what he draws here, because this is pretty awkward. He wants to deal with that knife juggler for sure. Let's see if he draws something that he can combo the SI with. And he's gonna top deck a.
I think there's a little bit of a disconnect.
Is it actually disconnected? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, he got the bug where the timer is going for your opponent, but he can't make any plays. He's not gonna draw any cards. This is gonna be disconnect. He needs to quit the game right now and try to reconnect into the game. I don't think he realizes that.
Oh my god, this could actually be a little bit rough. Well, he's saying so many options to Massan, but he doesn't have any as long as he's just stuck here. I think he's expecting the game to just unfreeze for him, but he's stuck in a little bit of lag right now.
Yeah, in ladder, you would definitely go Alt F4, but in tournament, like, you don't want to take the risk. Maybe it's not bugged, maybe it's just something going. But now he needs to realize that something is wrong, because now it's been more than 1 minute and 30 seconds. So, yeah.
And
RDU
he's
is actually bugged here, and this is a quite common bug as well. It happens a lot, and I don't know. Blizzard should fix this ASAP because of stuff like this in tournaments.
Yeah, he's actually missing his turn here too. The rope's gonna go down, and that'll actually give it.
What is the ruling on this?
I'm not sure. I'm actually gonna have to check with the admins here really quickly and see what's going on here to figure out.
Yeah,
all
restarting
right.
it.
Yeah, apparently that is the ruling. It's just to go for the restart. There's not a whole lot of good options or good ways to do this, because you can argue that, like, you know, one player is farther ahead than the other. It's only 4 turns in, and I don't think either player had a really concrete advantage.
No, there was no advantage in that game, but I mean, it's always awkward to restart. It's like some players get really tilted when they think they're really far ahead, and then they have to restart, and then they're going on full tilt, so that might affect something. And yeah, are we getting into the game, or is it?
Well, I think RDU is gonna have to restart his client just to load back in and cancel that challenge. So he should be back in here in just a minute. While we have this little bit of downtime, I do want to, for one last opportunity, mention that there is a giveaway going on. And you're like, oh my goodness, giveaway? How do I enter that? And no, it's not by typing exclamation mark giveaway or raffle or anything. You just hit the follow button. So it's as easy as that. You can see it right down below the stream. You hit the follow button, and that will enter you to win one of two 20 € Blizzard cards. So if you're looking to pick up some extra decks or cards for your decks in Hearthstone, or just want to put it towards another Blizzard game, hit the follow button right down below the screen, and that'll give you the opportunity to win one of those 20 € Blizzard cards and put that towards some awesome Blizzard stuff. So it's going to take us just a second to get back into here, but it shouldn't actually take too long once RDU starts everything back up. But I'm glad that game wasn't any further progressed, because that could have gotten a little bit dicey. But it does look like we are going to be starting here, and it is going to take about 20 seconds or so to get back in here. So we get a do-over. I guess that gives us a little bit more time to talk about the matchup. I guess RDU had okay options. He drew into that the Auctioneer Conceal combo that would have been really big turn 6, and he was about to hit that, but we never really got a chance to see that.
Yeah, and Massan's hand wasn't really that impressive. I think he had 2 kill commands in his hand and like an owl or something. Not really any big minions that he could pressure RDU with at that point, so he might have been slightly behind here. So I don't think he's too sad about that reset. Although he doesn't know what RDU actually had in his hand, so he might have thought that he was ahead.
Alright, well, we are going to get back into the game. It's going to be a regame here of this set. It's Hunter coming out versus RDU's Miracle Rogue. And actually a relatively similar hand, but he draws that flare, and that's going to be huge here. The ability to flare a stealth Auctioneer is actually pretty big, and with as many charge minions as Massan runs, he might be able to deal with that on a turn where RDU doesn't want him to, but he is most likely going to cycle that back into his deck.
Yeah, it's good, but you don't want it in your starting hand for sure. You need to get it at the point in the mid game where it's actually useful, because right now you don't want to use it right now, and then you don't want to have it in your starting hand. So that's going back. I'm very surprised to see the Knife Juggler getting thrown back here. He's going for a really greedy mulligan here for those leper gnomes. Oh, and he picks up double bow here.
Ooh, yeah, double bow. Not what you want to see in your opening hand by any means, but he does have a tracking in there, so at least he'll be able to dig.
Yeah. See what he goes for here.
Yeah, but he's actually going to play the Naked Abusive Sergeant.
I do not like that play one bit. That's just gonna get attacked with dagger, and now that RDU knows that Massan is playing aggro, he knows that he will be keeping Farseers and stuff for sure. So he's gonna get full value from those Farseers because of that.
Those Farseers are huge, not only because they force you to have a bow in hand to be able to deal with them, and I mean Massan does, but they're just gonna put him out of that early burst range that hunters want to hit. And I mean the Face Hunter, it only has like about a 30 to 40 damage and just the ability to go to face. So if you start healing up, if you start like clearing the board too much, kind of runs out of steam. So RDU starting to get that down, and we'll force Massan to waste the bow here.
Yeah, so he's thinking here, you want to use the hero power this turn instead of equipping a new bow. So he needs to track here for that last remaining mana. And he picks up a blue guild. That's actually not that good right now. Kill command is probably the better pick here, because your opponent always... Wow. Oh,
why would... What minion in RDU's deck has 2 health?
God knows, but that's about it.
That's it, yeah. Like, the only reason the explosive trap could possibly have been picked is to give him an extra charge on the bow.
Yeah, but that's only 3 damage compared to the kill command, which is 3 to 5 damage. So, that's a really weird choice there. I would not have done that.
Yeah, I feel like either one of the other cards would have been better. Either the blue guild to get early pressure, or just the 5 damage kill command. And really, we were talking about those 2 earthen rings in RDU's hand. They're just going to be even better now because there's 1 less kill command.
Yeah, and like we can see that the hunter is actually on the defensive here, because the rogue has just too many heals. Like, and he has no answer for that auctioneer except for Hunter's Mark, and hopefully hitting a Knife Juggler with that Arcane Golem. I think that's the only play he can go for here. He's so behind that he needs to risk it.
Yeah, you could suicide the Arcane Golem, but that's horrible because you give your opponent that extra mana and you don't get anything off of it. You lose the Arcane Golem for tempo, and
I think the play here is you Hunter's Mark it, you play the Knife Juggler, and you play the Arcane Golem, and if it misses the Auctioneer, you trade with your bow and go face.
Oh man, but if it misses, like, that's horrible. You lose your last bow without the ability to recharge it with traps.
It is, but he's so behind right now that he needs to gamble here, and he's gonna go for that play that I was talking about. Oh no, he's actually playing the Starred Buster instead of the Arcane Golem.
That's pretty bad. He gets the juggle, and that's pretty optimal for him. But with the Buzzard out there on the field, like, that is so crucial for Massan. Like, I guess he figures that RDU is not really going to ever have too many minions out on the field.
Yeah,
to use the Unleash. But the Buzzard getting killed there by Fan of Knives is pretty bad for Massan.
Yeah, I think that you might have, like, the gamble is worth it. We knew that he had a SI agent, so he could get a deal with that Arcane Golem. But I think in Massan's perspective, he needed to gamble there to maybe have a chance in this game. But now it's looking too grim right now for Massan. There's not many good options here at all.
I think hero powering is definitely a good one of them. You can hero power Knife Juggler and drop another trap, but at that point...
I think the play here is actually you hit steady shot and you explosive trap and you pass turn. And next turn, when that is at 1 HP, you can play the Knife Juggler and hope that he hits the knife on that...
oh, he's thinking about hero, or about Hunter's Mark here.
Yeah, but he's not
I don't think that'd be very good.
No, you need to save it for bigger minions. And but he made a big mistake there, showing that he had
Hunter's Mark
in his hand by targeting that. It could have been an Arcane shot as well, though. But he showed that he had some kind of 0 to 2 mana cost removal.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a big mystery for RDU what it was, regardless of the different options. He knows it's in his hand now, and that is that's big information. He dropped RDU will drop the Drake though. And this is a pretty big tempo swing. Now, RDU, crucially enough, hasn't drawn into his Auctioneer yet. And that means that, you know, Massan, he's not in super bad spot. But as far as, you know, being that big face hunter, actually he spins a Huffer off there,
It did use Knife Juggled by the Buzzard. But the Auctioneers is not really that good in this matchup, actually. Never have enough time to make a big cycling turn with Auctioneer. So just Acid Drakes and 3-drop minions are enough.
And well, there is that 1 health on that Azure Drake. If you get the juggle, then it's good to clear it out, but he's not going to have it this turn. So where does he bow? I think he's just going to clear the SI, and oh, he's suiciding Huffer.
Wow.
That is a big loss of tempo. Like,
yeah.
It's called Face Hunter for a reason. Like, you're supposed to, you know, just go super aggro, but clearing the board there actually still leaves it in RDU's advantage.
Yeah, so he's opting to play the Van Cleef here before removing the Knife Juggler, and I think it's because he's so far ahead right now that nothing that he does will matter here. He hits Knife Juggler to the face again, which is really bad, but I don't know.
He's got the ability to clear the board here if he wants to, but at the same time,
face.
Yeah, you have to realize
doesn't have lethal.
You're in such a bad clock position. Like, you're so far into the game that if you don't have, you know, a win in the next 2 to 3 turns, the miracle is just gonna kill you.
Yeah, so he needs to go face here and hope to top deck a Leroy. That's how he's gonna win this game. He can't trade here. If he trades, he loses. He has no more cards in his hand. And that's his last bow charge.
So the last bow, I'm gonna go. I mean, he has to hit the Drake. Yeah, so he hits the Drake. All right, so that's gonna happen, and everything else goes to face. He's actually gonna trade the Arcane Golem. That's pretty rough because now RDU. This is a big turn for him. He does have 1 Shadow Step. There's no Leroy in his deck for lethal or anything crazy like that. And there is the, he's going to sap, throw down a weapon, and then just hit him in the face with that deadly poison.
Yeah. So if he top decks a Leroy here, that's 11, 13 damage, 14 if the Knife Juggler hits, 15 if both hits, but so he could have lethal this turn, but very, very unlikely scenario. He picks up a Wolf Rider, not enough.
It's not enough damage. He's going to be able to hero power here, but like you said, that's going to be 10 damage, and he will be able to clear the Lotheb.
He's actually 1 damage of lethal right now.
Oh my god.
Oh, and he picks up the Blood Mage for the win here.
Oh, the Blood Mage, and that will give that Eviscerate just enough damage. 5, and then the auto attack with the Deadly Poison gives him the 3 that RDU needs to beat Massan's Hunter. And beating Hunter means that you've overcome a deck that almost every other player in this tournament has opted to ban. And so that means that RDU's ban of the Warlock gets a lot more value, because now he doesn't have to worry about playing against that. He keeps his Miracle Rogue, and he'll be playing it now into what looks like Massan's Warrior. So Warrior versus Miracle Rogue, the next matchup in our third game, the best of 3 or best of 7.
Yeah, it's interesting to see him. I love this matchup. Do you know if he's running Harrison Jones?
I believe he is.
Yeah, I think so.
He is running Harrison Jones there.
Oh yeah, there it is actually. In his starting hand, he's keeping that.
That's a pretty bad starting hand, but he'll get the Acolyte, so at least he has a play in a couple turns.
Yeah, that Ysera is basically completely useless in this matchup. You're never gonna be able to play that in this matchup.
But at the same time, that Harrison is gonna be super useful later on.
It depends. I still haven't seen an Assassin's Blade from RDU. I don't think he's running it. I've stopped running it as well, because in tournament everyone is playing Harrison Jones, and I hate that. So I'm not gonna get Harrison Jones anytime soon, buddy.
Yeah, it's just such a big tempo swing that even though it might be kind of rare, and if you're just laddering in tournaments, you have to realize that's coming your way. So a pretty late curve for Massan, so he doesn't have a lot of early game options. And like you said, the best that you can possibly hope for to get off of the Harrison Jones is just going to be a couple cards.
Yeah,
so
I'm really interested about RDU's build with Miracle. He's playing double Fan of Knives, he's playing double Farseer, he's playing Lothab. That means that he's playing no Cold Bloods, and I'm wondering what other card is that he cut. It might have been a Sap, so he maybe only runs 1 Sap here.
Cutting a Sap, especially versus Warrior, he does have the spell power that he needs to be able to kill the Acolyte in 1 turn, and more importantly, only limit Massan to that 1 card draw. And he's actually choosing to hit him in the face with his weapon. Yeah,
it's very important to hit him in the face at this turn, because he has 2 armor. That means he could armor up and shield slam, and he's preventing that right now by doing that play, which is a play that I do all the time. He picks up an Armor Smith here, not really the best. He needs to remove that Drake this turn, that's for sure. So he's gonna use the Cruel Taskmaster here.
Alright, so Cruel Taskmaster clears the board, gets it out there. It's not an aggressive use, but it does help get him at least momentum early on. It's not vulnerable to being cleared by just, an auto attack, but here comes the Miracle. He gets 1 draw off. He's gonna prep for another. Draws the Lotheb, but can't play it this turn. He will draw 2 off the Shiv, though, so a bunch of cards coming RDU's way.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be really surprised here if he Shadow Steps that Auctioneer. I don't think that's the play right now, because you have so many minions right now in your hand. You don't need to keep that Auctioneer alive. You're gonna throw minions at him turn after turn after turn until he can't deal with it anymore. So no Shadow Steps. That's really, I like that play a lot.
Yeah, he leaves it down there, so even if it dies, it forces some early removal, and like you said, he drew into way too many minions. He's got Lotheb next turn if he wants to play it, and then go for like the Deadly Poison, but a nice silence on there is not going to take that Auctioneer off the board.
No, it's definitely not, and now he's going to be able to trade that with Armor Smith very, very efficiently, only giving the Warrior 1 armor. I would have liked to see him armoring up instead of playing that Armor Smith and saving it for something like when you get your Sludge Belcher out, or a Brawl, or something like that. Just throwing that out there to be traded with a 4/4 Auctioneer is really, really bad play in my opinion.
So there is the Deadly Poison on. Is this a turn where you Harrison Jones I mean, I don't think there's too many other options where you're going to get more value out of it.
This is a Harrison Jones and a Fiery War Axe turn. You remove the Auctioneer and you draw a card. You don't need a taunt quite yet, and you need to go for tempo advantage here to win this
And that's
game.
exactly what that play gives him. It puts a big minion on the board. Now, it is able to be cleared by the Van Cleef next turn, but he still has the Fiery War Axe, and there's no counter Harrison Jones in RDU's deck, of course. So, Lothab going to come out here, just prevent a lot of that counterplay, and go for the Eviscerate to clear it, which keeps Van Cleef on the board.
Yeah, and this is the point where you can just Shadow Step your Lothab every turn to prevent him from being able to remove your minions, and that's really, really, really strong. He has 2 Shadow Steps as well, so he's gonna be able to trade that Sledge Belcher that's just played, Shadow Step it, play an SI, and replay that Lothab, and then trade the Armor Smith with the 4/4 Van Cleef. And that's probably what we're gonna see here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so he is most definitely going to hit it with the Lothab. Shadow Stepping the Lothab is really good too, because it will prevent any sort of like shield slams or executes from being played, cost effectively. So keeps him out of that, and it also heals it up a little bit too. But this is a little bit weird. He chooses to use the Earthen Ring to actually heal the Lothab instead of going for the Shadow Step.
It's a fine play as well, but you're playing more into Brawl right now, and we know that Massan actually picked up a Brawl here, so I think my play would have been better because you prevent the Brawl by Shadow Stepping the Lothab. But yeah, I'm not really sure what RDU was thinking here, because that's the only way he can lose this game, with a Brawl.
Yeah, he picked up all those minions from the Miracle, and now he's just going to get them brawled away. Now, let's see what survives here. You don't know anymore the last minion that goes into a Brawl.
Oh, and it's actually Lothab, so you got really lucky there. It could have been really bad for RDU. It was still pretty bad. He should have done the Lothab Shadow Step play to play around that, but I think he's still clearly in the lead here this game. Oh, it picks up Leroy.
Yeah,
that's really good.
This is huge, especially with everything else just going to the face. Leroy, double Shadow Step in the hand, and he has a Sap just in case he runs into something big like a Sludge Belcher coming out of Massan.
Yeah, so he has, unless he top takes some kind of Eviscerate or something, he has 19 damage in hand, including the dagger, 6 on board, that's 25 damage. That's Massan's exact health, so unless, yeah, this is actually gonna be pretty deciding here.
Yeah,
and that SI.
Yeah, the Rag does hit the SI, which means that, oh my god, if he hadn't hit that SI, then it could have been lethal next turn, but it does clear the board. That's about the best he could hope for there from the Rag. A lot of card draw, a lot of spell power, and that Sap keeping the Rag off the board. Can be replayed next turn, but once again, Leroy's double Shadow Step is in RDU's hand, so he has his win condition right there. He just has to get Massan in range.
Yes, but I don't. Oh, yeah. There's no other play, and you have to hope it hits the Drake. If it hits the Drake, you survive, and it hits the face, and that's 19, 20, 24 damage. Is 1 damage of lethal.
Oh my gosh! So he's not gonna be able to pick up the win this turn. Fan of Knives, unfortunately, does not hit the other guy in the face. Does draw into a Blade Flurry, but yeah, that's not that. It gives him that 1 damage.
That was not the best play there from RDU. I think he should have cycled first and then traded the dragon with the Ragnaros. I mean, I don't know why he attacked before he cycled there. That was really sloppy play.
Yeah, and he didn't trade that with the Ragnaros. It's gonna get faceless this turn, and the Fiery War Axe even still clears that Thalnos.
If he would have had a taunt there, that would have been a problem for RDU, but he did not have it, so it's gonna be lethal now, even if the board is clear. He has 19 damage now.
Oh, but it actually goes back over to RDU, and that just means it's Leroy all the way. Drops 1 Shadow Step, and oh my god, the Rag, it didn't hit where he wanted it to, and it just goes right back over to RDU. 1 Shadow Step after another, and he's gonna have lethal here versus Massan's Warrior. Yeah,
I do believe that RDU played a bit sloppy this game, but it turned out okay. If Massan would have had a taunt there, that Ragnaros and a taunt could actually have lost RDU the game.
Yeah, and there were actually a couple times, like when he overextended the board into Brawl too, he got very, very lucky with that one as well. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, he could have prevented that Brawl by shadow stepping, but it worked out in the end, and he picks up this win.
I mean, there is this fair amount of, skill that goes into this with your plays each and every turn, but when it comes down to that RNG, especially with the way the Rags hit there at the end, just did not work out in Massan's favor. And RDU's Miracle Rogue comes up big again. And that means it's into what is, I believe, our 4th game of the series. It'll be RDU up 3-1 over Massan. Massan picking up 1 win with his Hunter, but now it's RDU actually on game point. And
what's Massan's last deck here?
Massan's last deck is it's a shaman. Yeah, it's shaman. So that's what he's bringing out.
Interesting. That matchup can go either way. I know a lot of people are saying that Miracle is really favored in that matchup, but those are just really whiny kids, That matchup is actually pretty 50-50 in my opinion.
And especially against this version, Massan does run double Arguses too.
Yeah,
so
but however, RDU is running double Fan of Knives, so that can also be good against Shaman. So they both have good cards versus each other. So let's see how this pans out.
He's got a Deadly Poison in his hand too, so that's there for the fan combo if he has to go for it. But already the board's starting to get developed by Massan, and RDU draws into Leroy, which is not going to be useful for a few turns.
Yeah, that Leroy is a dead card right now. The Sap is not really a good card against Shaman because they don't really have a lot of good Sap targets. He could make something happen with that Sap if he argues something like that Harrison Jones or something big. Then the Sap could be useful, but otherwise it's not really a good card in this matchup.
And there comes the first Argus of the game. It's going to be more than effective. It does taunt up the Squire, and it also will get the Haunted Creeper, which is now a Taunted Creeper, which is just going to get sapped.
Yeah, it's getting sapped. As I said, there's no good sap target, so that's like a very decent one to use a sap on.
Alright, but he also goes for the clear of the Argus, so he wants to full clear the board. Do you think that was the right play for the Eviscerate, or...?
Yeah, definitely. You need to clear the board at all time against Shaman, especially when you know they're running double Arguses, so it doesn't get Argus and trades up with the SI. So now we're not seeing any Auctioneers yet, so this can actually be pretty bad here for RDU.
Definitely has that potential. Keep in mind, RDU, he wins this game and he wins $1,500, so a lot on the line here for Massan's Shaman. Shaman will be able to, he'll clear the board once again, and he'll still have that Doomhammer wailing away. That's a lot of damage, and the Wolves are actually going to be pretty difficult to deal with, just spamming taunts against RDU's Miracle.
Yeah, the Lothab is going to most likely be played here unless he picks up... no, I wouldn't even play an Auctioneer if he picks that up. He picks up an Edwin. I think you just go for the Lothab here. No, you actually used Dagger Up, Poison, and played Edwin here to deal those rolls first. Because if you play the Lothab, there's a possibility of Flame Tongue and a removal for that, so...
Yeah, and even though you would get the value from playing Lothab from its Battle Cry, having it gone the next turn is never what you want to see. So he clears out one Wolf, he'll get the next one next turn. He does get a 6/6 Van Cleave, which is no joke. It can trade out against a lot of things, but what is the answer? Oh, one turn too late there for the Alakir. And so it's just going to be the Haunted Creeper into head into the face.
Yeah, stream actually went down, so I'm switching over to the player streams here.
Alright, well, in the meantime, he threw everything to the face, and that means that, at least for RDU, this turn is going to be his Lothab turn. He doesn't have any Shadow Steps yet for his Leroy, and he still has to clear those taunts off the board. I'll do that with just a quick hero power auto attack, and send it right back over to Massan. Hopefully...
Yeah, so he has lethal here with the Fire Elemental top deck, and also the Alakir would have been lethal, so that's over.
Alright, yeah, well, things are actually down right now, so it's a little bit unfortunate. We'll see if we can get that, but yeah, with the lethal there, that is Massan actually able to take the win over RDU, who just couldn't get through the taunts in time. That fire elemental coming in right there at the end, and that means that it's time for RDU. So RDU is going to grab a Warlock of his own. Keep in mind, he actually banned this Warlock versus Massan, but now it has to take on his shaman. I believe this is a handlock for RDU.
No, I think this is
Wait,
Sue.
I'm trying to remember what he played yesterday. Oh yeah, he was in the Zoo mirror. So
yeah.
This is Zoo versus shaman. How does this work out? Because I mean, shaman tries to spam, but RDU spams minions too.
Yeah, I mean, this matchup depends a lot on the shaman drawing his lightning storms and stuff like that. But lightning storm is not really that good anymore either in max, because you have stuff like egg, you have stuff like spiders, stuff that's really sticky. So it's I would say that it's a slight advantage to Sue.
Small advantage, and RDU actually drew a great starting hand too. He's got perfect curve no matter how he wants to play it. And for Massan, he actually has a lot of early removal too. He's got things like Earth Shocks, Rock Biters in there. He even has a Doom Hammer too, which is going to be really good to clear out weapons, although it does still take the damage to the face.
Yeah, so using the Rock Biter here over the Lightning Bolt, an obvious play because you don't want to overload yourself for next turn. However, the Spider here is gonna be pretty annoying, but because it could. Oh, he picks up the Spirit Wolves here, and that's a very possible play here. He could also gamble for a totem and hope it's either taunt or spell power, but this is a better play in my opinion.
Yeah, he definitely goes for the safe play there, puts the wolves out, and wolves are so annoying for Zoo, because you're gonna have to get through them. Usually there aren't a lot of options, but luckily enough, RDU does have that Squire in his hand, so he's able to just trade things out at least very well early on. He'll be able to take it out next turn, as long as he doesn't lose too much pressure on the board. But there is that Earth Shock if Massan wants to use it.
Yeah, I think like the Earth Shock is really awkward here, because if you use the Earth Shock on the 1/2 spider, you have to kill it with the wolf anyway, and that's so many damage wasted on just removing it. So it's not gonna go for that right now. It's gonna go for Lightning Bolt at 2/1, which is not a good play either. So it's like making really awkward plays here, but needed plays yet.
Yeah, now he does choose to at least kill off a spider there. The Lightning Bolt, I hate missing that value, but at the same time it does clear off the board. The problem is that RDU just had such a good starting hand. The wolf is out there, he's able to dish out this damage. He's ahead in damage right now in the race, but I don't know, this
is the kind of board I was talking about by the way. Even if he had a Lightning Storm here, the Lightning Storm wouldn't have been good. It would have left him with a 4/4 spider and 2 1/1 spiders, and that's basically the same amount of damage. So he's gonna go for the wolves here, of course, because he has nothing else to play. But we know that he has a Dark Iron Dwarf, so he's gonna be able to trade up here with the egg. That's most likely. There could also be a possibility here of knife juggling the spiders here, which is really good play as well.
Yeah, Knife Juggler works so well with the Haunted Creeper. He's going to be able to not only clear out one of the wolves, most likely it's one to the face.
Dennis daggers. Okay, so but he still has one more dagger hit there, so he could clear the board here if he's lucky. And he does clear the board.
Oh my god, he gets the 4/4 as well. So even though those daggers, Dennis a little bit there towards the beginning, is still able to clear it out and does have that big Nerubian on the field.
Yeah. So now it's looking really good for RDU. Still hasn't gotten his Lightning Storm, so I believe his only play here is hexing that 4/4 and hoping to draw into the Lightning Storm soon. Otherwise, he's out.
Yeah. Still leaves that Knife Juggler there on the field, which is gonna mean a lot of extra damage next turn. You've got... Actually, he doesn't have that many good cards to drop, so he draws into a Mortal Coil. Which is not what he's looking for.
Yeah. Surprised the tap there. I mean, he could have played the Shadow Sun Cleric on the Knife Juggler twice to get it out of Lightning Storm range, but maybe then, I don't know, it was kind of a decent play, actually. Then the Shadow Sun Clerics would have died to Lightning Storm.
Yeah, and so you would have still lost those 2 cards to Lightning Storm, and really the 2 cards in Massan's deck that can come up so big in this matchup hasn't seen either one of them, and he's just he does get the Taunt Totem, which is about the best one he could have gotten here, but it's just gonna get traded out there with the spiders, and at this point RDU is taking a trip to Value Town.
Yeah, so now he's doing the play that I was talking about with double Shadowstone. He's not playing around Lightning Storm anymore. He knows his opponent doesn't have it because he would have used it last turn if he had it. So he's just going face here with everything, playing everything he can. And as soon as he top decks a Soulfire, this is game, because even if he clears the board, he can't heal himself. So Soulfire wins the game, Doomguard wins the game most likely.
And yeah, there is no Lightning Storm from Massan. He's got minions to play on the field, but not a lot else. Oh, actually, no, he does.
Yeah, but
he does have a Lightning Bolt.
Even if he taunts this up, it's still lethal. The Spider and the Argus and the Lightning Bolt will still not be enough here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my god. So little does Massan know there's just nothing he can do. The Spider can come down there. He has, you know, spells from his hand to trade off against some of the creatures on the field, but once again, no Lightning Storm. His deck just forsook him there at his final hour. Not enough to get it taken down. So he'll play the Argus. It's gonna give him 2 taunts here. And even though, I mean, those are some of the best taunts that he could get up, you know, both with Death Rattles if he wants to play the Spider down. This is, oh, I guess he can't play the Spider and taunt, so
yeah,
went for the roll.
This is so much over damage. There's nothing like Massan. Massan must realize this by now. He's just gonna go for the Doomhammer and the Honorable Sudoku into the Dark Iron Dwarf.
Yeah, the Dark Iron Dwarf, or really anything you just run into, and yeah, there we go. 4 damage to the face, and RDU with a 4-2 victory over Massan will be the winner of this Heroes of Cards Hearthstone Invitational on Hitbox TV. He'll pick up $1,500 for himself, and that is going to be an incredible victory in the final game. Picks up the win and $1,500 along with it. Of course, that does mean $500 to Massan. He will take down a 2nd place finish here in the Heroes of the Cards Invitational. And I gotta say, the first day of the tournament was a lot of 3-0s, a lot of just advancing through the bracket, but the second day has not disappointed. We've seen a few issues along the way, but nothing taken away from RDU's incredible victory here over Massan.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. This is the 2nd tournament in 2 weeks that he won right now. He won the HyperX Invitational as well. Really, really strong player who prepares so much for tournaments compared to other players.
Yeah, and his preparation, he was one of the only players in this tournament. I think he was the only player in this tournament who didn't ban Hunter as his ban choice. I think he did it day 1, but then subsequently didn't drop those Hunter bans. And that's something that every other player did. He didn't do, and he wound up beating Hunter every single time he saw it. I think he lost 1 game to it here versus Massan in this series, but was able to beat it just the next turn and finally finish things off. So congratulations to RDU. Once again, $1,500 coming his way, and of course Massan with the $500. And let's not forget our 2nd and 3rd place winners, of course. We did have Trump taking out Amaz in the 3rd place match, so Trump will of course pick up those $300 and of course $200 to Amaz. And once again, congratulations to all of our players. We had Amaz, Frezer, Massan, Blackout, Trump, Tice, RDU, and of course Alchemix there to round out our field of players. And so an incredible thanks to them. Once again, a final shout out for the giveaway. Make sure to follow the stream, and then you'll have a chance to win one of 2 $20 or €20 Blizzard cards to put towards either Hearthstone for decks and packs, and or another Blizzard game out there. So make sure to follow the stream, and then of course we're about 30 seconds from now I'll go ahead and announce the winners. But in the meantime, I do want to thank once again my incredibly wise and great co-caster. Thanks for joining me, Forsen. Oh yeah, I forgot the most important part. One of the best role players in the world. Thank you very much, Forsen. Do you have anything to say before we go ahead and end the stream?
No, not really. If you like what you saw today and you want to hear more analytic gameplay, casting and stuff, you can watch my stream at ForsenLol at Twitch. You can follow me at Twitter at ForsenSC2 to know when I go online as well. I'll be streaming starting tomorrow with my new computer as well, so that's exciting.
It is exciting. So I think RDU just got a new computer. Forson's got one too. And make sure to check out Forson when he streams coming up tomorrow. And thank you very much for checking out this stream. It's been one of the first tournaments to broadcast here on or one of the first Hearthstone tournaments on Hitbox TV. I know it's a little bit different, so thanks to everybody for checking it out, staying with us, and watching such a great tournament. I do have the winners to announce, so let me go ahead and take care of this. So if you are one of the winners, make sure to check your email. That's how we'll be communicating these 20 euro Blizzard cards to you. We'll be giving you the codes via email. So if you win, check your email. And the winners are Soust, S-O-U-S with a capital T at the end. And then the second winner is Doomy. So Soust and Doomy are our winners. If you are S-O-U-S-T or D-O-M-M-Y, check your Hitbox email, and that will let you get the codes for these 20 euro Blizzard cards. So that does it for the giveaways, that does it for the tournaments, and that does it for us. So I do want to give one last round of shout-outs to all the players, to everyone who checked this one out, my wonderful co-caster Forson, and also to the impressive production put on by Chaos TV. Had a little bit of a rough day one, but hopefully you enjoyed the tournament here in its second day. It's a great tournament. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.